Part 4. The Builder and the Plan. In the processes of efficient constructive imagination, directed by a definite purpose and toward a determined end, you will find it advantageous to follow the general rule given below. This rule, which is the result of a careful study of the requirements of the case made by competent investigators of the subject, is not a hard and a fast rule to be observed absolutely by you under all circumstances. Rather, it is a general framework of the actual method to be followed by you, the special details being supplied by yourself. Rightly understood and intelligently adapted by you to the special circumstances of particular cases, this rule will be found to meet the requirements of practically all the cases likely to require your attention. General rule: I create a clear mental picture of the general idea representing your definite purpose, i.e., the particular end which you wish to accomplish, the particular obstacle which you wish to overcome, the particular result which you wish to obtain, the particular desire which you wish to satisfy, the particular ideal which you wish to make real, the particular idea which you wish to materialize in objective form. 2. Form a comprehensive picture of the whole field of the proposed undertaking. Get a comprehensive and inclusive view of the whole field of the business into which you purpose embarking. See the whole enterprise in all of its general aspects. Compose a comprehensive idea including the whole matter under consideration. 3. Make a written list of all of the probable factors involved in the problem or undertaking. Compile a list of all of the probable elements involved in the working out of the matter. Gather together all of the ideas of the things that are likely to be called into the creative process. Have within easy reach the ideas of all of the materials likely to be employed in the construction of the ideal form which you wish to materialize. 4. Classify these ideas, elements and factors according to their general nature, their general uses, their known relations and associations, cross-indexing them under appropriate headings, and referring to the lesser elements, parts, or factors of which each is composed. Diagram and chart these ideas according to your system of classification, so as to have the whole matter under your mind's eye, and so that you may be able to grasp the arrangement at a glance without having to hunt for scattered items. V. Weigh the various factors one against the other, taking into consideration the associated and related values of each in the general idea, plan or purpose. Determine in this way which are the primary factors involved, which are the secondary, and which are the lesser values. Concentrate on the prime factors, and make these the central points in your process of constructive imagination, the focal centers around which you purpose grouping the associated factors or elements. Experiment by tentatively placing the secondary factors in association with and relation to the prime factors, regardless of how improbable or incongruous at first may seem such association and relation. Around the letter A, build alphabet to block combinations of the letters B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., blocks, to see if they make sense, or if they suggest anything of rational meaning to you. Discard all combinations that seem lacking in utility but only after actually making the test and experiment. Continue this until you have secured satisfactory results. Where there are several apparently satisfactory, or fairly promising combinations, weigh these one against the other to determine their comparative values, discarding the lesser values, and retaining the greater, until you have secured the survival of the fittest. Then proceed to test out the lesser factors in the same way, working out all the details of the plan. 7. Having reached at least a fairly satisfactory working plan, idea, invention, or solution of your problem, you should then carefully detach yourself from it. You should move from your personal point of view, and try to see it as others will see it. Try to imagine the effect it will have on the persons whom you wish to be interested in your finished product, how it will meet their requirements, satisfy their wants, arouse their desires for it. Your own created conjunction, plan, method, design or invention naturally will seem to you as the infant appears to its mother. No mother is an unprejudiced critic of her own baby. You must see the thing as others will see it, in order to arrive at an intelligent idea of the actual degree of utility possessed by your invention, creation, composition, or contrivance. You must employ past experience, reason, judgment, discrimination and cool decision in this final testing process. In the present, and in several following sections of this book, we shall ask you to consider in further detail the several divisions or principles composing the above mentioned general rule. together with certain instructions designed to promote the effective application of each of these special points. In the general rule of efficient constructive imagination, the first step is that of creating a clear mental picture of the general idea representing your definite purpose, i.e., the particular end which you wish to accomplish, the particular obstacle which you wish to overcome, the particular result which you wish to obtain, the particular desire which you wish to satisfy, the particular ideal which you wish to make real, the particular idea which you wish to materialize in objective form. Definite purpose is an essential characteristic of all true constructive imagination. This definite purpose may not be the actual purpose to objectify a subjective image already created in the mind, though often it is precisely this purpose of externalizing the created internal image. More often, however, the definite purpose is that of overcoming an obstacle, supplying a perceived want, discovering an efficient method of performing certain work. There is always present a fixed idea supported by a fixed feeling. The more definite the purpose, the more directly does the creative work proceed to its end. The more persistent the feeling and the desire inspiring it, the stronger is the urge toward the objective materialization. Halleck says of this characteristic of the creative imagination, the constructive imagination is always characterized by a definite purpose, which is never lost sight of until the image is complete. A child starts to build a house out of blocks. These are often changed and taken down many times, before the form in which they are built is such as to fix the growing, purposive image in the child's mind. Before an architect builds a house, he must form successive images, which he alters whenever they conflict with the general plan of that special dwelling. An inventor often spends years in changing and recombining the images of parts of his machine, but he is all the while dominated by a definite purpose. The images must be altered until matter poured into their mold fulfills the aim of the inventor. We would here, however, caution you against harboring the idea that the definite purpose is a crystallized, fixed, unchangeable archetype which the inventor strives to represent as best he can in material, objective form. Rather, the definite purpose is an evolving, developing idea, moving forward as do all living forms. It advances and, usually, gradually takes on new and better forms and details also. It frequently discards as inefficient or impracticable some of the forms or details which it had accepted at the start. As a writer has said, the creative ideal arises in the inventor and proceeds through him. Its life is a becoming process, and not an unchangeable fixed form. Its a fixed character consists of its continuity and definite purpose. If we liken creative imagination to physiological generation, this creative ideal is the ovum awaiting fertilization in order to begin its development. The creative ideal is a creative image tending to become real. Before you may expect successfully to accomplish creative mental work, you must know, at least in a general way, just what you wish to create. You must select at least the general goal toward which you desire to journey. You must not be content to sing, in the words of the familiar ballad, "I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on the way." You must sketch at least the general map of the country over which you wish to travel, and to indicate with at least a fair degree of definiteness the place at which you hope to arrive at your journey's end. We do not hold that you must necessarily work out a detailed map of that country. The details you may fill in as you proceed. Neither do we hold that you should necessarily make a mark at some particular part of the map to indicate the place at which you expect to settle down. You will be better able to do this when you arrive at that general part of the country toward which you are journeying. We do insist, however, that you should know the general direction in which you are headed. The early settlers of America knew that they were going west, and most of them had a very fair idea as to just what particular section of the far west most attracted their interest and held their attention. The matter of the precise, exact location of the place at which they expected to take up land was usually left to be determined when they arrived on the general scene, and had a chance to look over the places still open to them for settlement. This is about as much as we can ask for from you in the matter now under consideration. All true exercise of the constructive imagination is inspired by a want, a lack, an obstacle, a problem, or a thwarted purpose, the latter being stated by an eminent psychologist to be the occasion for all reasoning. If your every want were satisfied, if you suffered no lack, if there were no problem requiring solution, no obstacles to be overcome, no thwarted purpose is present in your experience, then you would never be called upon to exercise your powers of constructive imagination. Your want, your lack, your unsatisfied desire, your thwarted purpose, these call into activity the creative powers of your mind. It may not be always quite clear to you what constitutes the prime factors of your want, desire, lack, problem, or thwarted purpose. You may find it necessary to boil down the thing, evaporating the excess fluid in which this essence is dissolved. You must get to the real essential elements of the problem, get down to brass tacks. Here, as in many other instances and cases, you will find it helpful to think with your pencil, i.e., to express in written words the essence of the somewhat hazy general idea which is present in your mind as representing your problem or want. Unless you have practiced this plan, you can have no adequate conception of its value to you in thinking and planning. In thinking with your pencil for the purpose of discovering the prime factors or essential elements of your problem or purpose, you must strive to get down to the bottom of the subject to reach the center of the thing. Once having found this, you may work backward and forward in any direction from that focal point. The focal point may be discovered by determined pencil thought upon the following two questions, viz. 1. What is the obstacle which I wish to overcome? What is the nature of this thwarted purpose? What is the gist of the difficulty? And 2. What is the first and main factor or element of my purpose in this matter? What is it necessary for me to accomplish? What is the general end to be accomplished? What is the big idea which I wish to make real? Continue the task of analyzing and dissecting the subject until you finally reduce it to its ultimate elements of definite purpose. That definite purpose is always there, though usually hidden by a mass of comparatively non-essential ideas. It is your work to clear away this mass of encumbering material of thought, so that you may bring into plain view the precious thing at the center of the mass. Or, employing another figure, it is up to you to carve away the mass of stone which hides the figure of your ideal, that ideal which is crying for release from the encumbering material, just as the sculptor with his chisel releases the hidden form of his ideal creation. Your definite purpose once discovered, it becomes your definite ideal, the focal point around which is built the entire structure of your creation. The definite ideal is like the grain of sand which exists at the center of every pearl, and about which the pearly material has gathered. It is the big idea around which your constructive imagination builds, deposits, and accumulates its wealth of material. Your definite ideal represents your desire, need, want, purpose, plan, design. It is the vital germ of the entire future organism. It is the seed from which will spring the downward oppressing roots, and the upward oppressing stalk. Without it there would be no creative growth. In the degree of its strength, definiteness, and clearness of form, so will be the degree of perfection and vigor in that which springs from it. The importance of discovering and uncovering the definite ideal is not confined to its effect upon your conscious mental activities. Its effect upon your subconscious faculties and powers of imagination is even greater still. By a clear conception of your definite ideal, and by its repeated impression upon your subconscious mentality, the ideal becomes firmly, deeply and clearly set in the substance of the latter, and, thereafter, the subconscious faculties work steadily toward the end of the successful accomplishment of the purpose and ideal thus impressed upon it. The importance of this is realized only when you stop to think that over 85% of the activities of the mind are performed below the levels or planes of your ordinary consciousness. The 15% of the work performed by your conscious faculties is confined largely to the task of supplying the subconscious faculties with the proper materials for their work, and to adapting, shaping, testing, and applying the manufactured product of the subconscious workshop. Once having discovered and uncovered your definite ideal, you should strive to make as clear and definite a mental picture of it as possible. Keep the general picture in mind either directly in consciousness, or else at the back of your head, so that you will know that it is there even when you are not looking at it. Keep the big idea always in mind, consciously, subconsciously, and superconsciously. Get the fixed idea and the fixed feeling so firmly set in your mind that it could not be dug out without breaking up the mind itself. This definite ideal, this big idea, must be the mental picture, the ideal form which your entire mental being is striving to make real, to materialize, to objectify. Let no other mental picture rob this big idea picture of its prominent position. Hang it in your mental picture gallery in such a position that it will catch your mental eye the first thing in the morning, And the last thing at night. Having firmly established your definite ideal, you should next proceed to map out your general field and to note its prominent landmarks. In the words of the second section of the general rule, you should form a comprehensive picture of the whole field of the proposed undertaking. Get a comprehensive and inclusive view of the field of the whole business into which you purpose embarking. See the whole enterprise in all of its general aspects. Compose a comprehensive idea including the whole matter under consideration. In this process you need but to follow the general principles which already have been presented to you in the instruction concerning the discovery and visualization of your definite purpose, your definite ideal. These principles may be stated in condensed form as follows. 1. Think with your pencil. Write down all of the ideas concerning the general field and plan, and then compare these for the purpose of selection. Eliminate the non-essentials, cancel the duplications and contradictories, and arrange the selected items in a logical and orderly classification. In short, make a chart or diagram of the general field and plan, showing the ground to be covered, the obstacles to be overcome, the strong places, the weak points, etc., etc. You will do well to bestow sufficient care and attention upon this task, for your chart will be to you what his map of the battlefield is to the commanding officer. 2. Visualize your map. Study your map until you can easily visualize it. Learn it by heart so that it will become as familiar as your A, B, C's, or your multiplication table of childhood days. Impress your map upon your memory, so that you can bring it at will into conscious representation or recollection.